So this is it, huh? We're diving into transform your mind, transform your life. Gotta say, you always pick some really fascinating stuff for us to unpack.
Well, this book is really something else. It's not every day you find a guide that manages to blend hard science, neuroscience and all that, with these ancient wisdom traditions.
Right, like how do those two even go together? I was super curious about that too when I first heard about this book. But that's what makes it so interesting.
Totally. And it makes you think about self-improvement in a whole new way.
It does. So are you ready to dive into it, see what kind of life upgrades we can unlock here?
Oh, absolutely. Let's do this.
Okay, perfect. So one of the things that really stood out, even from just skimming through it, is this whole concept of neuroplasticity.
Yeah. It's like the foundation of everything else in the book.
Right. So for anyone who zoned out in biology class, what exactly is neuroplasticity again?
Well, it's basically the brain's incredible ability to rewire itself. Like for our entire lives, it completely throws out that old idea that we're stuck with the brain we're born with.
I admit I kind of believed that for a while, oh, well, this is it, I better make the best of it. But knowing that we can actually change and adapt, that's pretty amazing.
Right, and that's what makes this whole personal growth thing so exciting. We're not just along for the ride, we're the ones designing the neural pathways.
Totally. So how does this book connect neuroplasticity to something like, say, building better habits?
It all comes down to this cycle.
Yeah.
Cue, routine, reward. The book lays it out really clearly. Let's say you're stressed, right? That feeling becomes the cue.
Okay, so the cue kind of triggers the whole thing.
Exactly. So stress is the cue. Then comes the routine. Maybe you always reach for a sugary snack when you're feeling overwhelmed. That's the routine your brain has learned.
The reward is that temporary feeling of comfort you get from the sugar rush.
Exactly. Cue, routine, reward. But here's the thing. Once we're aware of this cycle, we can hit the brakes.
We can interrupt that autopilot response.
Exactly. And choose a different path, a healthier routine that aligns with our goals.
It's like we're finally taking control of the wheel instead of letting our habits drive us around in circles.
The book mentions that, on average, it takes about 66 days to solidify a new habit.
66 days, that's like almost a whole summer. No wonder it's so easy to fall back into old patterns.
Yeah, it takes consistency and effort for sure.
Speaking of effort, there's a concept in the book that I found super intriguing. Flow states. Have you ever felt so engrossed in something that time just seems to disappear?
Oh, absolutely. The book uses Michael Jordan as an example. Remember how he used to get in that zone during games?
Yeah, like he was just unstoppable.
Exactly. And that's what flow is all about.
Sure.
Finding that sweet spot where our skills meet the challenge, where we're fully engaged but not overwhelmed.
Okay, so how do we tap into that in our own lives? Asking for a friend who wants to be super productive, but also enjoy the process.
Right. Well, the book gives some practical advice, like first and foremost, eliminate distractions.
Easier said than done these days, am I right? Phones, social media, everything's vying for our attention.
It's true. But even small changes can make a difference. Maybe try silencing your phone while you're working on something important, or create a dedicated workspace. Even noise-canceling headphones can be a game changer.
It's like creating a little bubble of focus.
Exactly. The book also emphasizes the importance of setting clear goals for each task.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. If you don't know what you're working towards, it's easy to get sidetracked.
Right. And then there's mindfulness. Being fully present in the moment makes it so much easier to slip into that flow state.
So it's not just about powering through tasks, it's about being intentional with our attention and energy.
You got it. And when we can do that, work becomes less about slogging through and more about, well, flow.
Love that. Okay, so we've covered neuroplasticity, those flow states, but there's more to it than just productivity, right? Like our mental and physical health are totally connected.
The book dives into that too. It's like we often treat our minds and bodies as separate entities, but the truth is way more interconnected.
Right. I've definitely noticed how, stress can manifest in physical ways. Headaches, upset stomach, the whole 9 yards.
Exactly. Those are all signs that something's out of whack in our mental landscape. The book calls those psychosomatic illnesses.
It's like our bodies are trying to get our attention.
Trying to tell us to slow down, pay attention to our needs. And get this, the book also talks about this thing called the gut-brain axis.
The what now? I'm not sure I've heard of that one.
It's this two-way communication highway
Yeah.
between our gut, all those trillions of bacteria living in there, and our brain.
Hold on, you're saying the bacteria in my gut are talking to my brain?
In a way, yes. They actually have a say in our mood, our emotions, even how well we think.
Wow, okay. So it's not just about eating healthy for the six-pack abs, it's about feeding our brains too.
Exactly. What we eat impacts how we think, feel, and function on every level. The book highlights some interesting studies on that.
So healthy gut, healthy mind, healthy life.
That's a great way to put it.
This is already a lot to think about, and we're just getting started.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got rewiring our brains, getting into the flow, and realizing that taking care of our gut is actually taking care of our minds. But wait, there's more, right? What about affirmations? I have to admit, I've always been a bit skeptical about those.
I get it, a lot of people are. But this book presents a fresh perspective, connecting them to everything we've been discussing, like neuroplasticity.
So it's not just about chanting positive phrases in the mirror and hoping for the best.
Not quite. The book describes it more as a way to consciously reprogram our subconscious minds, to challenge those old limiting beliefs that might be holding us back. And it gives some compelling examples too. Did you know that Elon Musk apparently used affirmations to overcome his fear of public speaking?
Elon Musk.
Mhm.
Seriously, the guy who's sending rockets into space used affirmations. Okay, maybe there's something to this after all, but how does it actually work?
It's all about repetition and, more importantly, emotion. When we repeat affirmations with feeling, we're essentially carving new neural pathways in our brains, training ourselves to believe in a new reality.
So it's not just about saying the words, it's about feeling the truth of them in our bones. Okay, I get behind that. But then the book takes this even further, connecting it to quantum physics, like Einstein-level stuff. How does that even work?
I know, right? It seems like a big jump, but the book does a good job of bridging that gap. Have you ever heard of the observer effect in quantum physics?
Vaguely. It's something about how, like, the act of observing something actually influences it.
Exactly. And the book proposes that this principle might apply to our thoughts and beliefs too.
Hold on. Are you saying that if we truly believe we're capable of achieving something, we're more likely to make it happen?
That's the idea. Our beliefs shape our perceptions shape our choices, and our choices ultimately create our reality.
Whoa. Okay, that's a lot to process. So we've gone from the concrete science of how our brains work to the mind-bending world of quantum physics in just this one deep dive. I think we need a minute to let all of that sink in.
I agree. But that's the beauty of transform your mind, transform your life. It takes these seemingly separate concepts and shows how they're all interwoven on this journey of personal transformation.
It's a lot to process, for sure. But before we get ahead of ourselves, I think it's time to take a closer look at one of the most powerful forces at play in all of this, our subconscious minds. More on that after this quick break. All right, so we're back and ready to unravel the mysteries of the subconscious mind.
It's like this whole hidden operating system running in the background, right?
Totally. And most of the time, we're completely clueless about how it's shaping our thoughts and behaviors.
The book describes it as this vast, like untapped reservoir of potential, just waiting for us to tap into it.
Okay, so how do we actually DO that? How do we access this hidden power and, like, point it in the direction we want to go?
Well, one of the key tools the book highlights is meditation.
Meditation. Okay, I have to admit, I've tried it before, but I always feel like I'm failing miserably. My mind just won't quiet down.
Yeah, it's a common struggle.
hmm
But the book makes it clear that meditation isn't about emptying our minds completely. It's more about learning to observe those thoughts without judgment, just letting them drift by.
Instead of getting all tangled up in them.
Exactly. It's like we're training our attention to stay present, to come back to the breath, to the body, whenever the mind wanders off.
Okay, that makes it feel a bit less daunting.
And over time, with consistent practice, we can actually start to reprogram those deeply ingrained subconscious beliefs that might be holding us back.
Wait, so you're saying we can actually change our subconscious programming? It's not just set in stone from childhood or whatever?
That's the beauty of it. We have more power than we realize to shape our own minds. And the book doesn't just stop there. It also dives into how our subconscious beliefs might even be influencing those like lucky moments we experience in life.
Okay, now that's getting interesting. You mean like when everything seems to fall into place perfectly, as if by magic?
Exactly. The book suggests that our subconscious beliefs act like magnets, attracting experiences that resonate with those beliefs, whether positive or negative.
So if we're walking around with this underlying belief that we're unlucky, we might actually be sabotaging ourselves without even realizing it.
It's a bit of a mind bender, right? But the good news is that we can shift those beliefs, those subconscious expectations.
By using the tools in the book.
Exactly. The book provides a whole toolbox of techniques for reprogramming our subconscious minds, for replacing those limiting beliefs with empowering ones that can really transform our lives. Speaking of which, we have to talk about visualization.
Visualization, huh? Okay, that one always feels a bit out there for me. Like I'm supposed to just sit around and daydream and then magically my dream life will appear.
Well, the book presents a more grounded perspective on visualization, connecting it back to the subconscious mind. It's not about passively wishing for things to happen. It's about actively creating a vivid mental picture, engaging all our senses, making it as real as possible in our minds.
So it's like planting seeds of intention in the fertile ground of our subconscious.
Exactly. The book even gives the example of athletes using visualization to improve their performance, and it's backed by research.
Right. They imagine themselves executing every move perfectly, feeling the adrenaline, and it actually translates into real-world results.
Because their subconscious minds can't tell the difference between that vivid visualization and reality.
So powerful. Okay, we've got meditation, visualization. Any other tools in this subconscious transformation toolkit?
We can't forget about affirmations. I know we touched on them earlier, but the book goes deeper, explaining how they can actually rewire our brains for success by tapping into neuroplasticity.
So it's not just about chanting empty phrases, it's about choosing empowering beliefs and repeating them consistently until they become our new reality.
Precisely. The book shares examples of people throughout history who've used affirmations to achieve incredible things. Even Gandhi was a big advocate for their power.
Wow, if it's good enough for Gandhi, it's definitely worth a try. But it's not just about the words themselves, right? It's about the feeling behind them.
Absolutely. The book emphasizes the importance of feeling the truth of our affirmations,
Mm.
of embodying them fully, like really stepping into that energy.
Okay, I'm starting to see how all of this ties together. We've got the internal tools like meditation, visualization, and affirmations, but the book also emphasizes the importance of our external environment.
Absolutely. Our surroundings have a huge impact on our thoughts, beliefs, and behaviors.
It's like that saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with.
Right. But it goes beyond just people. The book encourages us to become architects of our environment, to consciously design it in a way that supports our growth and well-being.
So if I'm trying to cultivate a calmer, more focused mind, maybe blasting heavy metal music while I work isn't the best strategy.
Probably not. Little changes can make a big difference, like decluttering your workspace, incorporating more nature into your daily routine, even being mindful of the information you consume online.
Creating a sanctuary for our minds, basically.
Exactly. It's all about setting ourselves up for success.
This is all starting to make so much sense. But there's one more piece of the puzzle that we can't forget about. Habits.
Ah, yes, habits. The building blocks of our lives.
It can either make us or break us, right?
Absolutely. The book delves into the science of habit formation, how our brains are wired to create these automatic patterns of behavior.
And how hard it can be to break those patterns once they're ingrained in our neural pathways. But the book offers some hope there, right?
It does. It all starts with awareness. Paying attention to those unconscious habits, those automatic behaviors we engage in without even thinking.
It's like becoming a detective of our own lives.
Exactly. Once we're aware of those habits, we can start to make conscious choices about whether they're serving us or holding us back.
And then we can begin the process of replacing those unhelpful habits with new, empowering ones.
It's like rewiring the circuitry of our lives, upgrading to a system that can handle a higher voltage of success and fulfillment.
Love that analogy. But it's not about being perfect, right? The book emphasizes the importance of self-compassion on this journey.
Absolutely. Personal growth is a process, not a destination. It's about embracing imperfection, learning from our mistakes, and celebrating our progress along the way.
It's about enjoying the journey, not just focusing on the end goal.
Exactly. And speaking of journeys, this conversation has taken us on quite a ride through the landscape of personal transformation.
It really has. We've covered so much ground, from the science of neuroplasticity to the power of our subconscious minds, the importance of our environment, and the transformative potential of habits.
Transform your mind, transform your life doesn't just offer information. It offers a new perspective, a fresh way of approaching personal growth.
It's empowering, thought-provoking, and surprisingly practical. But before we wrap things up, there's one more powerful concept I want to touch on. Forgiveness.
Ah, yes. Forgiveness. It might seem like an odd topic to include in a book about personal growth, but it's actually incredibly relevant.
I can see how holding on to grudges and resentment can really weigh us down. But how does forgiveness factor into all of this?
Well, the book explains that forgiveness isn't about condoning someone else's actions. It's about freeing ourselves from the grip of those negative emotions that keep us tethered to the past.
It's about choosing to release the anger, the hurt, the resentment, not for the other person, but for our own well-being.
Exactly. It's about reclaiming our power, creating space for healing and growth.
So powerful. Okay, we've covered a lot of ground here, but I feel like there's one crucial element we haven't explored yet. Purpose. What is it? How do we find it? And what role does it play in this whole transform your mind, transform your life equation? That's what we'll be diving into after this quick break. All right, so we're back, and I'm ready to tackle this whole purpose thing. It feels kind of big and mysterious, you know?
You can definitely feel that way. But the book does a great job of breaking it down. It basically says that purpose is about figuring out what matters most to you, your values, and then finding ways to live those values every day.
So it's not necessarily about having some grand world-changing mission, like I don't have to cure cancer or solve world hunger to have a purpose.
Exactly. It's more about those everyday actions, those small acts of kindness, creativity, or courage that make you feel aligned with who you truly are.
I like that. So it's more about just like showing up authentically in each moment.
Exactly. And it's also about recognizing that our purpose isn't static. It can evolve over time.
Right. So what lights me up now might be totally different from what I'm passionate about 10 years from now.
Exactly. And that's okay. The book encourages us to embrace that evolution, to stay curious, keep exploring, and allow our purpose to unfold organically.
That's a relief. Takes the pressure off, you know.
Okay, so we've covered so much in this deep dive. Neuroplasticity, the power of the subconscious, our environment, habits, forgiveness. It's a lot.
It is. But the beauty of Transform Your Mind, Transform Your Life is that it connects all these pieces into this really beautiful, holistic approach to personal growth. It's like we've been given a toolkit, right? And with each tool we discover and practice, we're becoming more empowered to create the life we truly desire.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing the incredible power we have to shape our own minds, our experiences, and ultimately our reality.
I don't know about you, but I'm walking away from this deep dive feeling incredibly inspired.
Me too. It's a good reminder that personal growth is a journey, not a destination, and that it's okay to embrace the ups and downs, the challenges and triumphs along the way.
It's about progress, not perfection. And most importantly, it's about never giving up on our own potential for growth and transformation. So to everyone listening, here's a question for you to ponder. If you could transform your mind, what kind of life would you create? What kind of person would you become? Keep those questions close and keep exploring those answers. Until next time, happy transforming.